Have you ever felt like something was destined to happen? Have you ever wondered why, out of all the content flooding your feed right now, this particular message appeared before you? It's not coincidence. There's no accident here. This is alignment in motion. The test you just passed was silent, and 99% of people fail it without ever realizing they were tested. You're still here, still listening to these words, which means something profound is stirring within you. Most people would have scrolled away by now, pulled toward the next distraction, the next dopamine hit, the next escape from their deeper calling, but not you. You sense there's something more here, something that might shift everything. Your nervous system is responding to these words in ways you might not even consciously recognize. Perhaps your breathing has deepened slightly. Maybe your heart rate has shifted. Somewhere in the depths of your being, dormant neural pathways are beginning to illuminate, awakening to new possibilities you've long forgotten existed. This isn't just another motivational message designed to pump you up temporarily. Your frequency is being recalibrated. Your consciousness is being guided in a new direction. In this very moment, a subtle but significant shift is occurring in your personal energy field. Researchers studying human potential at the highest levels have discovered that authentic transformation doesn't begin with massive, forceful action. It starts with a quiet, almost imperceptible shift in awareness, a small change in how you perceive reality that creates beautiful ripple effects throughout every area of your existence. Your decision to maintain your attention here is the first step in that process. You're about to discover truths that will fundamentally alter your understanding of consciousness, your hidden behavioral patterns, and the deeper calling of your soul's purpose. These are insights most people don't uncover until they've wandered lost and unfulfilled for decades. As you continue listening, something real will shift that changes how you see yourself and your place in the world. You're going to have realizations that could completely reframe your understanding of who you are and why you're here. This might surprise you, but scientists studying neural patterns have found that people miss approximately 94% of life-changing opportunities that cross their path. Why does this happen? Our brain's automatic defense mechanism activates the moment we sense even the slightest discomfort or uncertainty. Consider the implications of this. Your mind systematically rejects nearly every chance for complete life transformation before you're even consciously aware these opportunities exist. In a well-meaning but misguided attempt to protect you, your brain actively sabotages your growth. Even more fascinating is the discovery that your unconscious mind determines your next 5 decisions 6 to 8 seconds before your conscious mind catches up. As you absorb these words right now, your subconscious has already decided your response. Whether you'll follow through on what you learn here, whether you'll take action, whether you'll allow this moment to become the beautiful turning point it's designed to be. This isn't speculation or wishful thinking. This is documented scientific reality of how your mind shapes your experience moment by moment. But beneath the surface, something even more extraordinary is unfolding. Quantum physicists have discovered that consciousness itself collapses waves of infinite possibility into the reality we experience. The quantum field surrounding you is literally restructuring every second you maintain full presence with this message. You're actively creating new patterns of possibility that didn't exist before you chose to be here now. This isn't just content you're consuming. You are actively co-creating your emerging reality. Here's something that might astound you. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times more powerful than your brain's field. This field extends several feet in all directions around your body. As these concepts resonate with the deeper wisdom within you, your heart's electromagnetic signature is shifting. A new frequency is being broadcast into the quantum field. This frequency will begin attracting experiences, opportunities, and people aligned with your emerging self. This is why certain encounters, messages, and synchronicities feel destined. They're not random. At the intersection where your consciousness meets the infinite intelligence of the universe, these magnetic attractions are born. You're receiving exactly what your soul requires at this junction to evolve to its next level of expression. And here's the most remarkable part of all. Your presence here, right now, means your unconscious mind has already chosen transformation. You are guided to this moment by your higher intelligence. This message contains something your soul recognized it needed to receive. This is your consciousness calling to itself, creating the perfect conditions for your awakening. But let's move beyond passive consumption. You're not here merely to absorb information. You're here to actively transform, to feel more deeply, and to expand in tangible ways. By the time we complete this journey together, you'll finally understand the invisible limitations that have been constraining you and discover the precise steps needed to break free. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. That inner voice that urged you to keep listening, that gentle whisper that said, "Pay attention, this is meant for you." That's your higher intelligence speaking. This is the moment you've been unconsciously preparing for. This is the universe orchestrating perfect conditions for what your soul has been longing to experience. You've received the quantum signal. If your soul is ready for transformation, embrace this message and become part of our awakening. Community, the time for your evolution is now. But first, we must address this critical moment, because life is advancing with or without your conscious participation, and you're standing at a crucial crossroads, whether you fully recognize it or not. Time waits for no one. It doesn't pause for our fears, our procrastination, or our carefully crafted excuses. It simply continues, carrying us forward, regardless. Right now, in this moment, you're making choices that determine whether you'll take conscious control of your destiny or simply drift along with circumstance. These choices, both large and small, are all directing you toward the same inevitable future. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every action you take is like casting a stone into the vast ocean of possibility, creating ripples that extend far beyond what you can immediately perceive. One path leads to growth, courage, and the actualization of the extraordinary version of yourself you've always envisioned. Those who walk this path are the brave ones. They expand, they evolve, and they create experiences that make them feel truly alive. This is the path chosen by people who refuse to settle for mediocrity. The other path leads to stagnation, excuses, and quiet, persistent regret. This route offers the least immediate resistance. It's the comfortable prison that many mistake for safety. It's haunted by unlived dreams and the haunting question, "What if?" that grows more bitter with each passing year. The harsh truth is that your destiny doesn't begin next year. It doesn't activate when you finally have all the knowledge, feel completely prepared, or receive someone else's permission. It ignites right now, with the very next choice you make. Every time you postpone your dreams, mindlessly consume distractions, or tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," you're making a choice. That choice is constructing your life, one decision at a time. Most people don't realize they're building their own prison until they find themselves trapped inside, wondering how they arrived there. Tomorrow is an illusion, and that's the tragedy. There's always another excuse to delay, another reason to postpone. But perfectionism is progress's greatest enemy. Waiting for the perfect moment is simply procrastination wearing a sophisticated disguise. This is called the preparation paradox. The more time we spend preparing to do something, the less likely we are to actually do it. Your brain deceives you into believing that additional preparation will increase your chances of success. But research proves exactly the opposite. People who act when they're 70% ready consistently outperform those who wait until they feel 90% ready. Why? Because by the time you reach 90% certainty, the window of opportunity has usually closed. The universe rewards momentum, not perfection. It responds to movement, not endless planning. Every day you delay, compound interest begins working against you instead of for you. If you invested $1 today and it doubled daily, you'd have over $1 billion in 30 days. Start just 10 days later, and you'll have less than $1 million. Delay is expensive. Its cost compounds exponentially over time. This principle applies to everything. The relationships you don't pursue, the skills you don't develop, the dreams you don't chase. Each absent element makes life feel increasingly constrained and limited. Most people say, "I'll start when I'm ready." They wait for motivation to strike like lightning and confidence to arrive like a package delivery. But I need to share a truth that might sting. Nobody is ever truly ready. Not you, not me, not anyone who has ever accomplished something meaningful. The most successful people in history were often terrified when they took their first step. They didn't feel prepared, confident, or qualified. What distinguished them was their willingness to act despite their fear. They understood that readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Growth is inherently messy. It's uncomfortable. It requires leaving your comfort zone, even if that zone has become a cage. If you want to reach your destination, you must be willing to release the version of yourself that brought you to where you are now. Becoming who you're meant to be requires letting go of who you've been. This process is never easy. It will challenge your ego. It will trigger elaborate stories about why you should wait, why you're not qualified, why you need more time. But these are just stories, beautifully crafted lies designed to keep you exactly where you are. Your mind is making a choice right this moment. Will I push through this discomfort, or will I retreat to something easier? This seemingly small choice is what separates those who only dream from those who live their dreams. This is where paths diverge. The universe isn't obligated to support you, though your presence here is a strong indication it will. You don't need external validation. You don't need a guru or savior. You simply need to release the myth that there's a perfect time to begin. Ideal conditions don't exist. They're a fairy tale we tell ourselves when we're not ready to start. The only real moment is now. This moment contains infinite possibilities. The universe is filled with opportunities and miracles waiting for you to say yes. But you must participate. You must choose. Most people remain stuck, either reliving yesterday's regrets or paralyzed by tomorrow's anxieties. But this present moment is the only place where real change can ever occur. The past exists only as memory. The future is an empty canvas. Right now is where you hold all your power. This message reached you today instead of last week, when you might not have been ready to receive it, or next month, when the opportunity might have passed. You're here because you want more. Let's address that inner voice first, then discuss the dreams you've been postponing. You know the one I mean. That voice that whispers, "Don't try that, you'll fail." You're not good enough. You've been hearing this voice in the background for years, maybe decades. It has influenced your decisions, shaped your self-worth, and directed your entire life experience. Your inner critic has been your constant companion. It's like a self-appointed security guard trying to protect you by keeping you small. It sounds exactly like you. It feels familiar and true. But here's what most people never realize. That voice is lying. It may use your tone, but it originated elsewhere. It's composed of old fears, past wounds, and cruel comments people made when you were too young and trusting to know better. It's built from societal conditioning and countless small discouragements that taught you to give up before you even try. This inner voice was forged every time someone told you to be realistic, every time you attempted something and failed, every time you felt judged or dismissed. It learned to defeat you before you could start, believing this would protect you from future pain. The longer you believe this voice, the stronger it becomes. It becomes the lens through which you view every opportunity, the filter that screens every possibility. But this voice doesn't know your future potential. It only knows your past and assumes tomorrow will be an exact replica of yesterday. There have been moments when you felt instant clarity, times when you considered being bold, taking risks, finally pursuing that persistent dream. In those moments of perfect clarity, you glimpsed who you could become. But then, within milliseconds, that voice returned. It doesn't shout. It simply whispers persistently, with seemingly reasonable concerns. What if you fail? What will people think? You don't have enough experience. The timing isn't right. In that brief pause, that moment of doubt, your potential evaporates. The dream stops breathing. The window of action closes. This is how most people live their lives, failing quietly, repeatedly, in small ways, but never dramatically enough to force change. Neuroscientists call this the 5-second rule. When you feel inspired to act, you have approximately 5 seconds before your brain intervenes with all its protective fears and doubts. Those 5 seconds represent the difference between the life you're living and the life you could be living. The most successful people have learned to recognize these 5-second windows. They don't wait for fear to disappear. They count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they move. But it's not just about external action. It's about making an internal commitment before your mind can talk you out of it. It's about prioritizing your future self over your present comfort. Every significant breakthrough begins with a small choice made in a moment of clarity, before fear can cloud your judgment again. Since we're here together now, you must act on these insights immediately. Take a moment to truly absorb this before continuing. Fear will always masquerade as wisdom. It's intelligent. It doesn't present itself as irrational panic. It dresses up and calls itself common sense. Let's be practical. It whispers persuasively. The timing is wrong. Wait until you feel more confident. Most of us don't question these arguments because they sound so mature and responsible, but they're actually fear disguised as intelligence. Successful people never wait for confidence. They feel the fear and proceed anyway. They understand that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action in spite of it. They know that confidence comes from doing, not the reverse. Every expert was once a beginner. Every success story began with someone who felt scared and uncertain, but chose to start anyway. You can be ready even when you don't feel ready. Consider the greatest discoveries in human history. None were made by people who felt completely prepared. They were made by people willing to act despite uncertainty. They understood that the path only becomes visible once you begin walking, not when you stand at the starting line trying to plan every step. The truth is, you'll never be completely certain. If you wait for absolute certainty, you'll wait indefinitely. Readiness isn't an emotion. It's a choice to act despite fear. Your inner critic will always exist because it's hardwired for survival. Its job is to keep you alive, not to help you thrive. You should acknowledge it gratefully, then choose to lead with your soul instead. Right now, in this exact moment, you have everything necessary to begin. Not when you have more money, not when you feel smarter, not when others believe in you. Right now, exactly as you are enough. That voice suggesting otherwise is simply running outdated programming. Before we discuss the future you're meant to create, let's honor what already exists within you. Most people feel like they're missing something crucial. More time, more talent, better connections. They constantly search for that one external element that will finally unlock their full potential. But here's the shocking truth. You already possess everything you need. You're not broken. You're not lacking anything. You are a complete and perfect being on an extraordinary journey. This truth has been buried under years of comparison and conditioning. There's a version of you that emerges during crisis, a version that refuses to quit, a version that demands more from life than mere mediocrity. This version already exists within you. You don't need to create it. You need to remember it and allow it to emerge. It surfaces when you stop playing small to make others comfortable, when you stop apologizing for your light and start shining it boldly. From the core of your being emanates an inexhaustible pulse of power. Your greatness isn't about being the smartest or fastest. It's about choosing persistence when every instinct screams to quit. That's true power, and it belongs to you. The strength within you doesn't care about circumstances or past history. It only cares that you choose to activate it. Some of history's greatest successes emerged from the most challenging beginnings. Your struggles aren't obstacles. They're the raw materials for your greatness. Every hardship has made you stronger. Every failure has taught you something valuable. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. Before we begin designing your extraordinary life, understand this: potential isn't discovered, it's awakened. You don't need to search for it. It already resides within you, waiting to be unleashed. It awakens when you choose to live from purpose instead of fear. Living from fear means trying to stay safe and avoid discomfort. You remain trapped in repetitive, limiting patterns because you're operating from a defensive, survival-based mindset. Living from purpose means infusing your existence with meaning and contributing to something greater than yourself. This mindset is offensive and growth-oriented, pulling you toward expansion and profound fulfillment. Everything transforms when you make this shift. Consider what you've already survived. You've endured experiences designed to break you, yet here you stand. There were days when continuation seemed impossible, moments when surrender appeared to be the only option. Yet you persevered. You're still here, still standing, still seeking more. That's not weakness. That's unbreakable strength. You've always survived your worst days. That's not luck. That's power. Successful people don't always have backup plans. They simply possess an unshakable refusal to be defeated. They have more faith in their own capabilities than in surrounding chaos. While others wait for perfect conditions, they work with what they have, where they are. You possess more power than you realize, and you already have everything necessary to take control of your life. You simply need to choose to use it. Now let's discuss the one thing that will create massive change in your life: taking action. Everything we've explored so far has been theoretical. Ideas alone, however, are just fantasies. Knowledge without application is merely entertainment. There's a reason you're here, because part of you knew you were ready for this. Your consciousness guided you to this moment. Now comes the real test, translating these insights into real-world action. This is where most people get stuck. They feel inspired and motivated, then do nothing. But you're different. You've stayed this long because you're curious, because you're ready to confront truth, because you believe you're capable of so much more. Today, take one step, even if it seems small or imperfect. Call someone you've been avoiding, write down a goal, start a new habit that aligns with who you're becoming. Don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't exist. Right now is the only moment that truly matters. The actions you take today will determine who you become tomorrow. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. What do you want that person to thank you for? You want them to remember this brave choice as the moment everything changed. That future version of you, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years from now, will be eternally grateful that you were courageous today. Now imagine the alternative, the future version of you filled with regret. This version didn't act. They surrendered to fear. They remain exactly where they are, haunted by what-ifs and missed opportunities. They look back with deep longing, wishing desperately they had made a different choice. This isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to instill sacred urgency. Your time is your most precious resource. Every choice you make today is a vote for who you want to become tomorrow. Don't seek permission from others. It must come from within. Consider this your authorization. You already know what needs to be done. You've known all along. The choice to act is your first step toward the life you've been craving. Share in the comments. Which limiting belief are you ready to release today? Your breakthrough could trigger someone else's awakening. Remember, change never happens while waiting. It begins with the first small step. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Just take the first step in faith. Action creates clarity. Movement builds momentum. You don't figure it out and then start. You figure it out as you go. The universe has a beautiful way of supporting those who support themselves. When you act despite uncertainty, resources appear. Opportunities manifest. Helpers arrive in ways you couldn't have orchestrated. It's not magic. It's simply how reality operates. When you shift your actions, you alter your position in the quantum web of existence, opening new possibilities. You can choose a new trajectory today that leads directly to the life you've always known you were meant to live. You could watch this message every morning to deeply integrate these truths. You could share it with someone who needs to hear it. Spreading this level of consciousness sends energetic ripples that accelerate manifestation for both you and them. Your encounter with this message was destined. There was no randomness in this algorithm. This was synchronicity. This was your higher self delivering exactly what you needed at precisely the right moment. Now go become who you were always meant to be. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The world needs your unique gifts. Your time has arrived. Your transformation begins with your very next choice. Choose courageously. Choose lovingly. Choose now. If this message resonated with you, join our Quantum Advice community. We're here to support your journey to full potential, one breakthrough at a time. Your extraordinary future is calling. Will you answer?